Right, it's Wednesday night, it's podcast night. Man, we've been eagerly waiting to do this one. We're doing the Dead and Company. Percy, if you follow us on Facebook, he has been, well, he went to see the Dead and Company in Las Vegas at the Sphere, and he documented that, his journey on Facebook. And we've asked Matt Colvin back. It seems like sometimes, Matt, we ask you to come do some of the harder ones.
It's an honor. It's an honor to be
Yeah.
here with Percy tonight.
Yeah, we're excited to hear about
I don't know
his.
about that.
No, we're excited to hear about your adventure. I mean, to think about going, you did 2 nights in Las Vegas and saw the Dead and Company at the Sphere, and of course, you should all know the Dead and Company is basically Bob Weir and a group of guys that are playing the Grateful Dead.
No, Mickey Hart is still playing
Mickey
drums.
Hart's still on the drums.
There's talk of Bill Kreutzmann coming back because I think he's had a little bit of some issues and stuff.
Well, that's cool. And so we dug in, Calvin and I did, and we, I mean, I went 100%.
You know, they say you take the pill when you follow the Grateful Dead, and
Right.
and I wasn't until about 2 weeks ago, and
Yeah.
now I'm
Again, if you want a Grateful Dead deal, I'm your dealer.
yeah.
Yeah,
I found out. Percy got me in on it. I always liked the Grateful Dead. I knew the stuff that was popular,
Yeah,
maybe just a little beyond the popular level. But diving into the Dead and Company has been a blast.
it's been a ball, hasn't it?
Yes.
And it is wonderful music, and I can only imagine by watching Percy's videos this past week that what an experience that was. And we're going to let him talk a lot about that tonight on this show. So let's get off. But before, let's thank our sponsors, Friendly's Family Pharmacy.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, they're the best.
They are.
They are the best, and
We are.
with yep, works there. He's one of the pharmacists, and that moonshine's getting me a little bit. He's one of our pharmacists, but y'all do a great job. If you're using a corporate pharmacy, I don't know why. And if you're local, go see Friendly's. We also want to thank Spices Smokehouse Crackers. If you see their product, buy it. You'll buy it again. They're fantastic and they support us greatly. And last but not least, Busted Oak Bourbon Society, where come and see us at the bar Saturday. Percy and I will be there with Dakota in the trenches. We're probably going to play the Dead and Company playlist that Percy has made, which is going to be massive. So be on the lookout for that. Of course, Wilkie's here again, as always, on picks. Such a handsome devil. And let's go. Let's get into it. Percy, tell us a little bit about your experience first.
Really, words cannot describe. I mean that, and I'm being honest when I say that.
Now, you started out just going to go one night, then you switched it to.
But it was going to be like kind of hectic getting there, and then having,
Sure.
and then I had a layover that was, and I don't like being rushed, so I was like, I got a breeze flight out there, and went a day early, and I got a room. Really, so an extra night in a flight didn't cost me that much
That's
by
good.
today's standards,
Yeah.
and I was so glad that I did that
Yeah.
because, especially when I got out there Wednesday, and I went to the Dead store, which, by the way, took me forever to find in the Venetian, and I go back to the hotel and check in, and they've got the Tuscany hotels where I stayed, the Tuscany Casino and Suites, and they basically it was Deadhead Central. They had Shakedown Street there, and Wednesday that night they had a band. It was called Delilah's Dead. Great cover band. I mean, they the first song they did was Shakedown Street,
Great.
and then they went till midnight maybe, and then the next morning at 11, Shakedown Street opened up with 100 vendors. They had an outside band at 12.
Right.
2:30 they had started an inside band. They played till 5. Everybody goes to the concert, and then you come back, and there's a band in the Plaza Lounge and a band in the Copa Room playing till 3 o'clock in the morning. Now I didn't make it that long. I just be
Vegas,
honest with you.
baby. What bands played at 3 in the morning?
Nobody
You
sleeps.
go to bed.
I was so wore out from the whole day between Shakedown Street but I'm telling you, it's just amazing and all the other vendors
And that was your first time to go to Las Vegas.
Yes.
But
Probably been 30 some odd times.
yeah, go in July. It's nice and cool.
Well,
Your soul will melt on the sidewalk.
tell everybody that where I stayed was close enough to get to the chaos if you wanted to, but when you got back, it felt like you were far enough away from it.
That's cool. Yeah.
I mean, there was a little store that I frequented that I could just walk across the street, and there was a sushi bar across the street. So I mean, there was plenty of stuff around. Oh, you didn't feel free life when you walked across the
I'm
street.
cold. Let's go.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you,
I love the desert.
That's my favorite. One of my favorite cities.
one thing I can take to, and I've heard people talk about this, you just never know until you're around. They are truly a family.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's
Good stuff.
They love the music.
Well, I know you were excited to go. You've been excited to tell us about it. And, we sure have enjoyed your journey on Facebook and social media. And man, the videos from the Sphere were a trip. What you think about the Sphere?
I tell everybody that I've never taken acid and I never will, but that's got to be the closest thing.
Right.
I mean, it's amazing. There's just no other word for it. And they have. I was telling y'all earlier in the Luther's Lounge that they have haptics in the seat, and the sound in that place is just
So tell
immaculate.
everybody what haptics are.
Well, everybody have haptics on their. If you look on your iPhone, it says it's haptics on your iPhone. Like it, so it vibrates when it's in silent mode or whatever. And
So
then,
all the seats in the Sphere have haptics. That's crazy.
It's 2025, and I think back, if I went back to when I was early in college, like 95, and someone told me what the Sphere was going to be like, you couldn't imagine it.
Number one, you wouldn't believe.
So we sit here in 2025, and I'm like, have we absolutely saturated the audio-visual capabilities? And honestly, how can you beat that?
and now one thing I'll point out is
That's what we say right now.
Yeah,
Think back in 30 years, baby.
their graphics change. Everybody knows their set lists change every night,
Hope not.
but their graphics change every night.
Yeah, it's from what I've seen on video. It is the most immersive audio-visual experience.
Yeah.
And I hope to go sometime.
And I plan on it. Bucket list for me.
Dead and Company 2026. Let's do it.
Well, I'm in.
Well,
Go back.
I tell people this that the Eagles are going to be there, and they're going to have hotel cap, but there is no band that can compete anywhere near their graphics and the stuff that they have to go with.
Floyd maybe, but
Not
Yeah.
lasers on you.
That's true. That's true. You're
The
right.
laser show would win.
Yeah.
Graphics.
The graphics, colorful, cartoon.
Thinking about this, with all of those just think about how many small businesses that the Grateful Dead has done more for small business than anybody.
Well, they created them. I mean, all these vendors. They're making them.
And they have done more.
Yeah, and they paid for rap. I mean, the Dead and Company still represents. I mean, and the merch is still selling. The music is still selling. I think it's a beautiful thing. And how did they end up? I know that John Mayer struck up a friendship with Bob Weir
On the Late Show.
Yeah,
And also he played it. I want to think it was maybe like it was Fairly Well. It might have been before that, but he did some show because Fairly Well in Chicago they had shows like 2011, I believe.
Yeah.
If memory serves me, and they had tons of people with them.
Apparently, Mayer got into it around that time.
That's when I think he kind of got into it.
And connected. And I think the magic with them is the fact that they picked up former band members, but yet have introduced what you would call youth into the band. So it's like, it's not the same band, but they haven't lost the magic.
No,
And they're not different as if they're a bunch of youthful cover band guys that don't really have the
They took the medium range age guys,
Yes.
super chopped,
Yes.
and guys that wanted to play Grateful Dead music.
Yeah. Odell played for the Allman Brothers.
Yeah, Odell. I mean, he's one of them. The guy's a beast. And then, John Mayer early on, my daughter, she's 34.
He's a fan. I'll admit.
I had to because she liked him. Everybody liked John Mayer.
Yeah.
You're like, that guy's pretty good.
Favorite fan still.
Remember Smitty and Annette introduced me to John Mayer way back when.
It's like his guitar playing.
Very
Great guitar.
he's a good lyricist too.
I'd
If he writes his songs.
his solo songs,
He does.
I'm going to be honest with you, I don't care for. I enjoyed when he's been at Crossroads several times with Eric Clapton. And just him playing and just jamming on those songs. But his songs I never really cared for. But it's just like,
his voice is made for some of these. My number one song is because John Mayer's voice was made.
He brought a soulfulness to them that
yes.
The Dead had a soulfulness to him, but Mayer has a super soulful voice. And so some of those songs, I mean, that's what set the hook on me when I started listening. Because to be honest with y'all, I had never listened to the Dead and Company until Percy. He was going to this concert, and Matt, I think you were right there with me.
I was aware of them. I'd listened to the Grateful Dead songs, but on that point, that is what this show is about. It's so that you grab something you don't know, you deep dive it, and then you come out going, you know what, this is really, really good stuff.
It's fantastic.
And I enjoy it, and it adds to your musical knowledge and enjoyment of
and all their music is streaming. It's on Apple. It's on Spotify.
No recorded album.
It's no recorded.
I love that.
Yep, it's all live. And I couldn't imagine them doing anything in the studio. And I guess we had talked earlier, there are whispers that they might.
Sometimes they may be messing with people, but
they might be, but they're live.
But really,
Jerry said when Pigpen died in '73 that he was the soul. And I know y'all probably never listened to it, but you go back and listen to '72 in Europe, and Pigpen was the blues man of the band. And then I think kind of John has brought a little bit of that. Now, don't get me wrong, nobody could ever do "Turn On Your Love Light" like Pigpen.
Oh yeah,
but John has brought some of that soul back. You know what I mean?
He has, and he's got that soulful voice and great guitar, and it makes for great music. And we would encourage you to check out the playlist that will be on the way this week.
You posted on Facebook that the songs take you on
It does. It will on a.
Use this analogy that it takes you on a highway. And you're going to detour on this street, and maybe go down a back alley.
Yeah.
But you're going to end up back on the highway.
And it's for all ages too.
Absolutely. And if I can interject, what I like about Dead and Company and learning more about the Grateful Dead is, and I love lyrics. Lyrics are the meaning of the song. The music gives you the emotion, but the lyrics solidify it.
Yep.
And a lot of these songs may not, the first time you listen through, just absolutely blow you away necessarily, but they grow on you. And they keep, the more you listen to it, and then you start connecting with the song and the lyrics, and some of these songs have clear meaning. You understand what they're talking about. Are very open for interpretation. You can interpret it the way you want to. To me, that's the beauty of what they do. And there's several of these songs, and had I had to, when you said let's do this, had I picked my 8, I would have picked 8 Grateful Dead songs I know. 3 of those made this list of 8 because the Dead and Company did some of the Grateful Dead songs. I hate to say this for the Deadheads, they did some of these songs better than the Dead.
I thought so too.
And those songs jumped ahead for me.
Yeah.
In this scenario.
Yeah.
I mean, they're equal.
I think there were 2 on my list. I said, that's a little better.
Yes.
And a lot of it had to do with John Mayer.
Mine are 100%.
Yeah.
Mine, no doubt.
And his vocals, and then his lead guitar riffs were pretty amazing. So
he's not bad at what he does. He's
pretty damn good.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
All right. With all that intro being said.
Good night. We built this
stuff. Yeah. Let's.
I did want to mention, you're talking about lyrics.
Yes.
And I brought this up when we were in the Luther's Lounge beforehand. That there's one line from a Dead song that describes
This is fantastic, by the way.
the people, all the people at Shakedown Street and all the dead people I met. But there's the song Scarlet Begonias, and there's a line in it that says, "Strangers stopping strangers just to shake hands."
Yeah.
That's
what
a
it is.
great lyric.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's the Netheads right there, right?
That's the only thing I can describe it.
All right. Good deal. Well, kick us off, son.
All right, fired up. Let's
Me
go.
too. What's your honorable mentions?
I told you guys that I picked my list from the show.
Right.
I went with that. And some of the songs are maybe tied to the performance of the song and the graphics that came along with the song.
Sure.
So my first one, and I posted the video to this, and Matt mentioned it where it kind of looks like you're going through a tunnel.
Oh, yeah.
And it was when they did Franklin
Well,
Tower.
Yeah.
And John just did a fabulous job with Franklin's Tower. I mean, I love that song. And the next one I'm going with is a song that it was totally off my Grateful Dead radar. I just, I thought it was okay, maybe. And John did the solo on this song, and I was like, holy shit. And it's Help on the Way.
All right.
That was, oh man, it blew me away. And then my last one, a song I always liked, and it was John just tearing it up, and it was when they did Terrapin Station.
That's a great one.
But the thing was, you're sitting there, and it's almost like a oversized cartoon, and you look up in the corner, and there's a little cabin down here, and there's a terrapin playing a banjo and spinning around. And then you look over.
Tear that banjo up. I bet he can tear it up.
You look over to the left of you, and Jerry's standing on the top of a mountain over here, a cliff, just kind of looking off on everybody. And it was like that song Turbine Station, and it was not one of mine. Really like way up on my Grateful Dead list.
There you go. But the Dead Company brought it up.
Yeah.
That's true.
Because that performance. It's on your list.
Yes.
Right.
Fantastic.
Right.
I'm next. All right. Honorable mention 1. And I already mentioned, if I'd had to pick 8 Grateful Dead songs, my list would have contained 2 or 3 of these at most. The Dead and Company did these, I think, a little bit better. And I picked all of mine off emotional musical response and lyrics.
Yeah.
So, honorable mention 1 from September 18th, 2021, Wrigley Field, Chicago, Illinois.
It's a great concert they did.
Brown Eyed Women. And the lyric that gets me, brown eyed women in red grenadine. The bottle was dusty, but the liquor was clean. That just sticks with you. If you don't know the song, it's about Jack and Delilah, which you said Delilah's Dead. Was that the name of
That was
one
the name of the
band?
band.
Yeah. It was set in the Great Depression. I'm not going to spoil the story, because that's another good thing that the Grateful Dead did, was they told stories in these songs. A lot of characters.
My favorite line was when Dad made whiskey and he made it well. Cost $2 and it burned like hell.
Such great imagery. But it was in the Great Depression. Jack was a bootlegger. Delilah dies, and Jack was never the same again.
She had twins.
She had twins first. Yes, I left that part out.
The best part was she said, raised 8 boys, only I turned out bad. I never got the lickings that the other ones had.
Such a great song. I mean, and if you listen to that, you get this imagery. Great song. So Brown Eyed Women's my first honorable mention. The second is from June 3rd, 2023, Jiffy Lube Live in Bristol, Virginia. Turn on your love light.
All right.
Okay, so this song, and I'm gonna put something in your head, and maybe it'll stick. It gives me a vibe like it should be on the movie Animal House.
Well, you're talking my language now.
Yes, I figured that would hit you. But imagine Belushi and the Blues Brothers doing this song. It just has that vibe to me every time I hear it. And it's a song. I had a Grateful Dead album in college, and it was on it, and it was one of my favorite. But to listen to this live version, was fantastic. So that's my second.
I'm not,
Go ahead.
you've never dug like really deep into the Grateful Dead, and they do
Yeah.
a great job with all the songs.
Oh yes.
But when I would challenge you, which I do often, to listen to Pigpen singing back in the day, because he
You
died in
mentioned that earlier, and I
He
thought I
died
gotta
in
go back and listen. to this.
73, and you get him singing "Turn on Your Love."
Is that from
Was
Europe 73?
I think he did it.
was it jumpy
It
like
was
his
either
version?
72 Europe or Skull and Roses. I've got so many albums and
Very
CDs
well
now, I can't keep up with
They're
it.
going to be on the playlist.
Put it on there. It
I'll
is
put
now.
Pigpen on there.
Yeah.
Is it jumpy? Is his version?
Yeah,
jump.
see,
That's what I love about it. It's the
Pigpen
jumpiness.
was
It's just
their,
popping.
their blues influence, and he played harmonica and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's the same style.
Great song. Great song.
Good stuff.
All right. Honorable mention number 3 from October 3rd, 2019, Madison Square Garden, obviously New York City. They didn't do all Grateful Dead songs, and I've got a couple in here that are other covers. But Werewolves of London
Oh, boy.
had to make my list. Warren Zevon original,
Well, Zevon's one of my favorites.
and I know that as well.
And they loved him too.
Yeah, and the lyric. I saw a werewolf with a Chinese menu in hand. This just gives me a visual. With a Chinese menu in hand, walking through the streets of Soho in the rain. He was looking for the place called Lee Ho Foods. Gonna get a big dish of beef chow mein. That is just a classic lyric of a song that has existed forever. And this version by the Dead Company, fantastic.
I haven't heard it. Was it better than Warren's?
I won't say it was better than Warren's,
But they leveled up.
but it was the Dead Company doing their version, and that's one thing I like. When they do these covers, even though it's a cover, they don't try to do the same song the other guy did. They make it their own.
But I'm gonna tell you this, and I love it. It's got nothing to do with the vocals. They did Werewolves of London at Red Rocks in '77, and
77.
Jerry played slide on it.
Okay.
It's freaking amazing. The slide guitar.
I'm writing it down.
Definitely.
It's not to disparage that.
No.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, everybody, I think, they didn't do a whole lot of slide. Jerry was the slide in there. And most people, when they do Werewolves of London, they don't put no slide in.
Yeah, I've never heard it was slide.
But that's a great recognizable song. And
Absolutely.
when I saw they did it, I listened to it. Boy, it just took me.
Exactly right.
That's my 3.
Good. All right. My honorable mentions, you mentioned one already.
Oh.
Brown Eyed Woman.
Oh, so good.
I like the one that they did at Fiddler's Green in Inglewood, Colorado, which I've been to, I don't know, 4 or 5 concerts at Fiddler's Green when I lived in Denver. It's a great environment. It's an outdoor amphitheater. It's all lawn seating. There's no like chairs. It's lawn seating. It's blankets and it's chairs. And I saw Buffett there, which I would like to think would be a little bit more closer to like seeing the Dead and Company, because we had the parrot heads, right? And I just imagined them doing this at Fiddler's Green.
Have you ever been to, or do you know where Folsom Field in Boulder is?
Yes.
Because they've got an awesome album that they did there.
Two coming up from Folsom Field.
Yeah. It's a cool place.
That's great.
I mean, of course they're gonna like Colorado. I did too.
Oh, why? I have no idea why.
Yeah, great.
Right over,
All right, my next one is Bertha. Love that song.
Fantastic.
And they did that one at the San Riviera in like here it is on Percy's set list in Mayo, Mexico.
They did
Yeah,
Bertha.
they did Bertha. Okay, that's great. Cool song.
So, just on a side note, Stephen and Jessica are expecting a little girl.
Yeah,
I'm really pushing for Bertha Brindley.
it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen, but I think they could change the tone of
name.
that name.
Yeah.
Okay, but I think,
Yeah,
She is known as Sister Brindley.
Yes.
And she is going to be so loved. And Stephen is he's going to, we're just about taking. When you have a daughter, it's entirely different.
What I enjoy about this whole situation is that Stephen has no idea what's going on, and I do.
Like, get ready, buddy.
Yeah. Anyway, I had to throw that in. Bert, that is a fantastic choice.
Yeah, Berto's my second. The last one, and I can't believe this is just honorable mentions because I love this song, but it got bumped down, and it must have been the Roses, and it's from the Gorge. I know Matt's looking at me like, what? That wasn't in the top five or whatever.
No,
It's just such a
he does a great job with that song.
he does.
But I think about
Yeah, I'm good with that. That's fine.
I think about Jerry doing it in the Reckoning album when it's acoustic, and it's one of Jerry's best vocals period ever.
And it will almost make you cry.
No, I mean,
It's such a great song, and we teased Percy a little bit about this Grateful Dead stuff, but I can't tease you, man. This shit's good.
It's really good.
I'm really glad
Dead
you
and
picked
Company, yes, this Dead and Company stuff. I will never quit listening to them from now to the end of my life. Uh, that is feel good. Go on a journey. Go sailing. Listen to the Dead and Company. I promise you will enjoy it. All right. Okay. Top fives. Percy, what's your number five?
This is another song that was kind of off my radar for the Grateful Dead. I mean, I liked the song, but it was kind of like, it was middle of the road, not like way up on my list. And Bob sings on it, but it was just the energy behind it. They did the greatest story ever told.
Yeah.
And the energy behind that song, I mean, the first line is Moses come riding up on a quasar. His spurs were jingling and the door was ajar.
Yeah.
And he's one line in the song, he says, I asked for mercy and he gave me a gun. And just the energy behind that song that night was amazing.
Man, these guys were so deep. They were under the skin.
And again, the Dead and Company has helped, I think, people discover levels of the Grateful Dead that they may never have.
I think so
They have
too.
me.
They had younger audiences, and Percy said there were families there. So younger people, because the Dead and Company are being introduced to this great music, and I'll be 60 in June.
Let's have a party.
Yeah, we are, and I always liked the Grateful Dead, but I never really got into them. Actually, sort of shunned them early in my early years. I was like, no, I want to hear Van Halen, whatever.
Yeah.
And then later on, as you mellow and then
Oh,
go back, is my point. Is folks, if you gave up on someone early, go back because your music taste changes over the years, and mine did. And I could listen to this shit every night, all night. Just what a soothing, it's peace.
Percy can attest.
When you talk about
Good.
family, you were talking about families. One of the best things that I saw, there was a man, I don't know what his age was, but he had a grandson. He was like 7. And they walked down the aisle beside me, and he's like, you remember last year when we were here and we saw that stuff? And I was like, that's just really cool.
That's fun. And kids enjoy the cartoonish end of it. And,
Oh, yeah.
And it is good music.
Dancing bears and all that
And
stuff.
Percy can attest. So I've got 12 people on Snapchat. I Snapchat every day. So he gets a Snapchat from me every day. And when's the last time it hadn't been a Dead Company song? And what I do on my Snapchats is I send you a picture of whatever I'm listening to at that time. That's just kind of the thing I do. It's been the Dead and Company pretty much every day for the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Right on.
And
It's been worth the journey.
100%.
And it took Percy to go do this for us to be right here tonight. So.
You cannot just send snaps of songs that are going to be on my list.
I did. Some that are coming on mine, I'm sure.
No.
I guess I'm up next.
Yeah, we're
All
five.
right,
We're
number
five.
5. My number 5 song from June 3rd, 2023, back at Jiffy Lube Live in Bristol, Virginia. This one I had to go with another cover song from something outside the Dead because I'm a big Beatles fan. I chose Dear Prudence. First of all, it's one of my favorite Beatles songs, but as I deep dove what this song was about, I didn't know this, but it was written about Prudence Farrow, Mia Farrow, the actress, written about her sister, who was actually at the facility, the temple, whatever, when the Beatles were in India doing their meditation therapy and all that stuff.
That was George Harrison driven.
Yeah, she was there, and she got to be close friends with Lennon and Harrison. They were pretty tight, but she was known to be a recluse and to do whatever she had to do, and then to go back to her room. And they asked Lennon and Harrison, "Can you help try to bring her out?" So they wrote Dear Prudence, and you get the lyrics, "Dear Prudence, won't you come out to play? Dear Prudence, it's a brand new day."
Right.
But why I chose this song has nothing to do with the Beatles end of it. It's the fact that they took this song and they made it their own. It is the same song, but it's the Dead and Company. It's you don't listen to that and go, "This is the Beatles doing this."
Yeah.
And there's a point, you mentioned this last night, we were texting. At the 4:30 mark, it gets kind of quiet, and there's nothing but a piano playing. And that's a signature moment for me, where I said, "Ooh," I kind of got the hair on the back of my neck stood up,
Oh,
and I'm like, the song is fantastic. And it's about a 9-minute song where the Beatles was maybe 4.5, if that much.
Well, they did the song
That's
Saturday
White Album.
night.
You said they did it live.
That's not a White Album.
It was White Album.
Paul McCartney was in a suite.
Yeah, Paul
And they
McCartney
did it
was
Saturday night.
there when Percy was there.
No, not when I was there.
No.
Oh,
They did it Saturday night.
Okay, you were
And
there.
he was in a suite, and they just threw that song in there.
he had to be just like that. The version from Dickie Lee Live in Bristol, Virginia, June of 2023. If you like the Beatles and you like Dear Prudence and you haven't discovered the Dead and Company, listen to this and just sit back and enjoy it. They do a great job of this song. So that's my number
awesome,
5.
man.
All
I
right.
can't wait for this playlist. Percy said in the lounge earlier that we have 22 hours of the Dead and Company on the playlist.
It's like 12 songs.
Yeah. It's going to be great. All right, my number 5, and I can't believe, again, this is hard for me to rank. And I think this is Amanda's favorite Grateful Dead song. It has really meaning for her, and it's from Wrigley Field, and I'm going with Broke Down Palace. And I love that song too. And when you dig into the lyrics now, nowadays you're streaming, you can hit the button that says lyrics, you can follow along. It's like, God, it's so relative to me, and I think it was to her too. It's just like, know where they're coming from, man.
But
They sang about every man all the time. This music is for every person.
But that song, I think if you're a person and just could care less about words, that song was just one of those that they did that were just relaxing.
Yes.
I mean, it would just musically it would just kind of calm you down.
I have to confess, this one has not hit my radar yet. Yeah, I'm
Broke
going
Down
to
Palace?
listen to it tonight. I missed this one somehow. I tried to absorb as much as I could.
No, you did. We pressure on you. When we get in tight spots, we've got a handful of guests. You're one of them. Like,
The way you described that, though, drew me in. Like, I've got a star by that name.
man, you got to. All right, that's the one at Wrigley.
And I've listened to that album. I must have missed it. Okay.
You may have.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, it does. It's sensory overload when you got a week. Now we gave you a couple weeks. I didn't give you a month.
Close to a month.
Yeah.
Close to a month, yeah.
I had a week there on a band that I really never followed. But what eye-opening experience. So thanks for that, Percy. All right. Number 4's. You.
My number 4 is another song that Bob Weir sings that was kind of off my radar, but the energy when they did it live, and it's War Breath. There's a line in that song that said, "Half of my life I spent doing time for some other fucker's crime." He said, "The other I spent stumbling drunk, burgundy wine."
The lyrics, I'm telling you, their lyrics are so descriptive.
They are. They're real.
And
That's real, man. That's real. All right,
Great.
Grayson, what's your
All right, number 4. June 27th, 2023, Ruoff Music Center in Noblesville, Indiana.
Jeepers.
This is the first song I remember ever hearing from the Grateful Dead. So this had to make my list. It came on MTV. It's actually the only music video I remember, and it's Touch of Grey.
It's a great song.
Probably the poppiest song they have.
It charted.
The most radio played.
Their only hit.
That's their only
poppy hit. But the moment that stuck with me watching this, I was probably 13, 14. I don't remember. It popped on TV, and I was like, "Yeah, I like this group. Grateful Dead. Who are they?" But the lyric, the rent is in arrears. The dog has not been fed in years. And on the video, they showed this Grateful Dead bone dog. I
Yeah,
don't know if you remember this or not.
I do.
That
I'm an
moment,
MTV baby.
yeah, that moment stuck in me because I remember that line and that moment in that music video to this day. And it stuck with me as the only Grateful Dead song I really knew probably till I got to college. But it's a song that it really has a positive vibe. And it's the one, obviously, as I said, that probably is the poppiest hit. But it's just one of my favorite Grateful Dead songs.
It's a
Them
great
doing it in Ruoff Music Center in Noblesville. Had anybody ever been there?
No.
I tried to get Pearl Jam tickets there a couple of years ago,
Oh,
but
boy.
couldn't. It's an amphitheater. It's supposed to be a really cool facility. But that's my number 4. Touch of Grey.
Good stuff. Remember when it hit the scene?
Yeah, late 80s, mid to late 80s, somewhere in there.
I was in college, and that came out. Like I said, we were all on the MTV scene back then, and that reintroduced the '80s college kids and high school that were watching MTV because MTV was a very powerful thing then. It was. And it reintroduced us to the Grateful Dead. So we started digging back in their catalog and Fraternity Brothers, like I have, like Wayne. I think he led the charge on some of that stuff, but he led the charge on a lot of great music. But that was one.
Yeah,
So,
I love it, man.
great choice.
Every silver lining's
Yeah.
got a touch of gray.
That's a great.
Mm.
Look at my hair and my beard.
It's good.
Going all great.
That's not.
Well,
That's not
you're right there.
No, I hate to break it to you. That's not called a touch of gray.
Yeah, yeah.
So much
No point.
lining in that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Silver's next. All
get
right.
your heart out, guys.
All right. Mike's number 4.
My number 4. I'm sorry, Percy, because I know I may steal your thunder on this.
I think you know what you're doing, but
Morning Dew.
Morning Dew.
Oh my gosh! And I could have made it number 1. I could have made my next few selections all number 1s, but it was tough. And this is the one from Wrigley. I like that Wrigley concert and that Fenway concert a lot.
see, it's my favorite Grateful Dead song from RFK in '73. When most of the time when they start Morning Dew, it comes kind of a little harder edge. And when they started it at RFK, it was real mellow and kind of laid back. But on both groups, when they get into that solo,
Man,
holy fuck, you want to run through a wall.
yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Don't pull up next to me at the red light if that solo's going on.
Yeah. I've seen you in action. It's sort of scary. All right. Nitty gritty time. Number 3, Percy.
My number 3 is, I always loved it by the Grateful Dead because it had a lot of good harmonies in it. And it's I Know You Rider. And they do a great job with it too. But the graphics that they had behind this, they had the Grateful Dead Uncle Sam,
Mm.
and he come into town on a motorcycle,
Mm.
and he was popping wheelies in that thing, and he rode it all the way into the sphere while you're listening. It's a great song. Just to get you pumped up anyway.
Uncle Sam popping wheelies. I love it.
And I've always loved that song. And then now you've got
All right. Good choice. Good selection.
You want to know you got a deep collection. So how many times have I been on here? 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't know.
Yeah, you're up there. Coming back.
This is the first time. I mean, Percy's had 6 selections. You've had 5, and I've had 5, and we've duplicated 1 song so far.
Yeah, it's pretty weird.
That shows you they've got a deep collection.
They do.
So that said, my number 3 comes from July 2nd, 2023, Folsom Field,
Love it.
Boulder, Colorado.
Seen it.
I'm going to start off with the lyrics. It says, long distance runner, what you standing there for? Get up, get out the door. You're playing cold music on the bathroom floor, drowning your laughter, dead to the core. There's a dragon with matches that's loose on the town. Takes a whole pail of water just to cool him down.
Wow.
Fire on the mountain. That's my number 3 song. I'm not really sure what's going on in the lyrics here. This is one of those that can be loosely interpreted
Yeah.
to whatever you want. Musically, it may be, in my opinion, the grooviest song that they have. This song has been in my head all day.
This is the one you were talking about earlier.
I can't get it out of my head.
Yeah,
it's
crazy.
stuck in my head. I remember the Grateful Dead doing it, but for some reason, the Dead Company is just stuck. And it maybe has a. Did they have a Bob Marley feel to it? A little reggae feel?
I think it does.
Just enough of it.
Just enough to liken it.
Yeah. Runner. So
Yes.
you run a lot. And when it says long distance runner, what you standing there for? Get up, get out the door. I don't know. It kind of hits me a little bit.
Run into that one. Is that going to make the
It's probably going to make a playlist now. Yeah. And this was actually my number 4. It moved up to number 3 last night. And
it's funny how this
probably should have gone to number 1, but it hasn't. I left it at 3.
You know, it's funny when I first started getting into the Dead. This is long before we decided to do Dead and Company. I saw they had a song called "Fire on the Mountain." I'm like, damn, they're covering Marshall Tucker Band.
Yeah, not the same.
I said, I want to hear it. It was like, it's completely
different song.
And I discarded it. Because my expectation was I was going to hear them cover Marshall Tucker Band, but years later I went back to it. I was like, "Oh yeah, baby, this is good."
The imagery in my head when I hear this song is the hippies at the Dead and Company show that are just dancing in circles and spinning.
Oh yeah,
enjoying the musical vibe that's being given off. And
yeah.
Again, lyrically, I don't know what they were shooting for on this one. It's a little bit out there.
Yeah.
But that's kind of fun sometimes when lyrics don't really, they rhyme, they flow, but they don't maybe make sense. That's okay. Have a good time with the song. So that's my number 3.
That's your number 3. Yes, sir.
He mentioned about the spinning around and stuff. And I want to mention, I was in the bar Wednesday night watching Delilah's Dead. And what was so great was you had 2 or 3 of those people that were just spinning around. And then I saw a man sitting in a chair just with his arms crossed, taking it in. And me, I was sitting in a bar stool, and I was swaying back and forth, grooving, and everybody was taking it in their own way, and nobody cared.
Yeah, nobody was worried about the other.
Enjoy it as you choose to enjoy it.
That's great.
That's good. That's right on.
Right.
All right. Face, what you got? Number 3.
Ripple. It's going to make my list. It doesn't. I mean, if someone said, give me your 20 favorite songs, Ripple is going to be one of them. And they did it credit.
That's one.
They did credit to one of the greatest songs ever written and performed.
They did it credit, but that's one song. God help. I just have to hear Jerry singing that song.
I know. I like the version from Fenway.
I'm not knocking that. That's a great version, but we had this talk. And it's like, if you've had the roughest day at work or whatever, go home and put that song on.
Yeah.
And it's just so relaxing.
It'll calm you down. I probably could have used that last night. No.
That's a different podcast.
That's not making so. Right. We're at number 2. Percy. Can't wait to hear y'all's number.
2 for me was really, I like their job of it because I have to say it's almost more mellow than when Jerry did it, when they did Uncle John's Band.
Oh, that's good.
And a lot of that with me too is tied. It was the second song that they did, but actually when the graphics really started. And basically the virtual curtain or whatever goes back, and they're on their stage. It's like it's on the street in the Haight-Ashbury. And then when they start out, they just keep going up and up and up till they're out of the planet. And then at the end,
what a trip.
the end of it, the last couple of songs, they start making their way back down to Earth, and they land back in the hate.
What a trip.
And that to be like the first song they did in that sequence, and I'm like, it's amazing.
That's pretty crazy. All right.
That was single-handedly my favorite Grateful Dead song over John Band.
That's
When
good.
it comes to Grateful Dead, that's what hooked me to them when I was in college.
Oh, yeah.
Such a great song. It didn't make my list though. Like I said, the Dead Company changed my mind on things.
Yeah.
All right, so number 2, July 14th, 2018. This is an older concert by him. Again, back at Folsomville in Boulder, Colorado. I have no idea why.
I really like
It's
that.
is
venue there.
a good venue, but possibly one of the most iconic of iconic Grateful Dead songs. Most average listeners are not going to know this song, but Deadheads are going to have it on their Mount Rushmore of Grateful Dead songs, and it's Althea.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we just drank from the same cup there, brother.
Althea and Old Jim, let's be honest, they weren't meant to be.
No.
And this is another one of those stories. I don't want to spoil it for the listeners. Go listen to this song. But there's names, details, there's a purpose, there's story writing
Yes.
in there.
Yes.
But the way that the Dead Company do it, it's extremely laid back, chill, with some really groovy guitar riffs and runs.
Agreed.
But my favorite lyric is when he says, Althea told me upon scrutiny that my back might need protection. What a better, is there any other way to say,
No.
let's be watching you back?
You need to watch out.
You need to watch out.
Yeah.
But upon scrutiny, your back may need protection.
And
That's
don't
right.
don't forget, treachery will tear you limb
Oh,
from limb.
there is so many good lyrics in this song. Now,
That's great.
Princess, I told Althea I was born to be a bachelor. Althea said, "Okay, now I'm trying to catch her."
so it's a fantastic story, and my last 2 songs are both kind of stories, but that's one of them. And if you follow the Grateful Dead, you know there's a lot of characters. They use a lot of names over and over. Delilah's a big one. Jim's a big one. And they tell these stories, and it just makes the songs better. So Althea is my number 2.
That's a good one. Well, guess what? Althea is my number.
How about that?
But I'm going with the version from Fenway Park.
Okay, it's good too.
It is.
Between the libraries.
Either one of them is the way to go. But I just got locked and loaded on the Fenway and the Wrigley concerts because Percy guided me a little bit on this. He said, listen to Fenway and Wrigley.
Yeah.
Those are kind of gateway concerts.
Yeah, those are the gateways. But then I broke out a little bit. But when I heard Althea at the Fenway, man, it's just that's a beautiful song, man.
All the Colorado ones are good. They did 2 or 3 called "Playing in the Sand." They had a song called "Playing in the Band," and those "Playing in the Sand" concerts are really good too.
That's great. Can you believe it? We're at number 1 already. I can't wait to hear what Percy and
Well, when I was going to the concert, I had a lot of concerts people go to, and they're like, I want to know the set list. Well, you can't with a band like this.
Yeah.
And I went into it. Do I want them to play this? And I was like, I don't give a shit what they play. I'm getting to see them.
Right.
And I was sitting there, and I heard that boom. And I think Bob Weir heard me when I stood up and said, "Holy fuck." I think they played Morning Dew. And I just lost it.
That was a spiritual moment for you.
It was. It was amazing. It was the next to last song. So they helped.
You were waiting for that one too, thinking they weren't going to play.
That was the beauty of it. I didn't really think about what songs they were going to play. I just took them as they came. But I guess it was so great. It was a surprise.
That's cool. So glad you had this experience. It's very cool.
That's so cool because again, how deep their repertoire is and how influencing they are. We didn't duplicate a song, me and Percy. Not one.
Yeah.
Not one on our list.
It's really cool.
And that's a cool thing. So my number 1 song comes from June 5th, 2023, the Pavilion at Star Lake in Burgettsville, Pennsylvania. It may not be my favorite Grateful Dead song, but it is by far my favorite Dead Company song because this song was written for John Mayer's voice, and it's Bertha.
So good.
Bertha is my favorite song by far that I've listened to so far. This list could change in 6 months. But great lyric writers, they just have a way with words, and the way he delivers those words are exquisite. I don't know another word, but the lyric where they say it ends a little bit of a chorus. It says, "Bertha, don't you come around here no more." And then they describe this. They say, "I ran into a rainstorm, ducked into a bar. It was all night pouring rain, but not a drip on me." It's a great way of saying I went to the bar and I drank all night.
Right, that's it.
In other words, it was pouring
I
outside.
stayed in there.
There's not a drip on me. Musically, it's just the song that when I hear it come on, I'm pulled into it.
Right.
And as I listened through as much of this as I could, I just kept coming back to the song Bertha.
That's awesome.
It's a good song.
You'll be happy to know that they did Bertha.
I know when you said that earlier, and I was
Yeah, Percy has the printed playlist.
and at some point that concert I'm
Right.
sure will come out. And
Here's the playlist.
such a good song. And again, John Mayer's voice was made for that song.
Yeah.
Trust me, if you go listen to Bertha from June 5th, 2023, the Pavilion, Star Lake, Burtonsville, Pennsylvania, if you're listening, go listen to that song. In the first 30 seconds, you'll go, John Mayer's voice is making that song.
Yeah. The guy made it different.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, Pace, what you
Number
got?
one, gosh, Sugary.
I almost made my list. I shut it.
Sugary, baby. And Percy turned me on to that. I give you props to that. I do like the version that I heard first, and that was at the Sand Riviera in Mexico. You said there's a better version.
I would have to look it up because, like I say, I based my list on all the songs.
Yeah.
But there's a better version, in my opinion. But by the way, on maybe one day a week or maybe every day, John Mayer does a little segment on the Grateful Dead channel.
Oh, great.
And he talks about how he likes to listen to one of their songs one of Jerry's songs before they go out. It kind of gets him.
Yeah, get his vibe going.
And he mentioned in this, and I never noticed it, that in Sugary, he would throw in a couple of Jerry's licks.
Oh boy.
And then when I got to listening to it, I'm like, I hear that.
Yeah, he did it, didn't he? He did it. Well, I love the song. I will always love the song. And man, it was just great. What an experience. Percy's experience has transcended into Matt and I's experience. And Wilkie's been along for this journey. We've been talking about this for quite some time. And we're glad you got to go and see them and come back and share it with everybody. It sure has been a lot of good music.
I'll just tell you that
was
was the concert experience of my lifetime, and I've been to tons.
I know you've been to a bunch. Calvin's been to. We've all been to a bunch of concerts. So we sort of bucket listed that if they come back to the Sphere, we all gonna try to go. Calvin.
Yeah, just go ahead and count me in.
Yeah.
I think I would be in for that for sure by next summer.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Did you have a Percy's pick?
No,
There's no way.
I just went with.
There's no way.
I mean, I could probably just look at the list here and maybe pick another one. But
Yeah.
I want to tell you, this was the sequence leading up that they did my favorite song. So it's kind of building. He did an extended version of Dear Mr. Fantasy, which was
Right.
amazing. And then all of a sudden they break into no, 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 no.
It almost made this. So they did Hey Jude.
They didn't really do the whole song. It was kind of a bit of it.
That's why.
And then when it stopped, they cut into Morning Dew, and that was just 3 songs in a row that were just. And they ended with Sunshine Daydream, which
cool.
that's kind of a good song to go out on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff. Well, God, good topic. I never thought we'd be in here talking about the Dead Company. I figured it'd be the Grateful Dead first.
If you would ask me 2 years ago,
Yeah, you said no.
I would have said no.
Well, thank you for having me because it's.
Well, you know, it's one of those. Yeah, that we knew that you would get into it, and
I got nothing else to do.
yeah, no, you got plenty to do, and proud of you and your family, Cooper.
Thanks so much.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
Happy for
Basketball scholarship, Hogan Forbes, good stuff.
Yeah, go Stormy
Yeah.
Petrels.
Yeah, man. Y'all raise good kids over there.
Thanks, sir.
So,
Thanks, sir.
and Brindley's Pharmacy. Can't say enough about
Come
that.
see us
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate you being here and coming back.
anytime.
Wilkie, Percy, love y'all. And all I gotta say is fare thee well.